Hi, this is your host Sapnil Bharti and welcome to TFR Insights. Today our guest is Sander Renhaus, co-founder and CEO of Red Kubes. And today we are going to talk about the newly announced open source Otomi container platform and a round of seed funding to the company. Sander, first of all, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Tell me a bit about the company itself. You are also a founder. So, what problem you saw in the market that you are trying to solve that you co-founded this company?
Well, we've been working with Kubernetes from the beginning, and we've been working as a freelance consultants for a couple of companies where we were hired in to build some kind of platform on top of Kubernetes. And then me and Maurice, we looked at each other and said, well, this is crazy. Yeah? So if a company wants to work with Kubernetes, they need to seriously invest in spending time and money to build, to create some kind of platform on top of Kubernetes, because Kubernetes is a platform to build platforms.
Right. If you look at Kubernetes, Kubernetes is just one of the many pieces of the cloud native world. And if you look at CNCF landscape, there are so many projects that you cannot even see on a single screen. So when you do talk about platform, it also means that it is opinionated. It's not that people can pick and choose. But at the same time, the things are so complicated in the cloud native world. You do have to come up with a solution that people can start consuming without having to worry about all the pieces in that boards. So when you talk about Otomi platform, can you talk about what part of the problem are you looking at? Because in general, you say, Kubernetes is being used everywhere. Everybody's using it. Are you addressing a specific use case that you're like, hey, let's build a platform for them? Or it's a general purpose container platform like everything else out there?
No, so if you look at the CNCF cloud native landscape, you'll see a lot of point solutions. Yeah? So you have solutions for monitoring, telemetry, security, service meshes. I can go on and on. And you need to install them all one by one. So they have like a Helm chart available where you need to do some configuration. But if you go a step further, you would like to do some integrations between those solutions, and that's something you need to do yourself. And all these solutions will come with updates, so you need to change the stack you've built, and also maintain all the technical depth that you'll end up with. And so what we did is, Otomi is like a suite of best-of-breed open source solutions that are tightly integrated. So we did all the wiring between all of those applications and added a lot of automation. And so the whole suite of open source solutions is combined into a single solution. So we're going to come up with a single chart that can be deployed on a Kubernetes cluster, and then you will get all of these applications all pre-configured and running, combined with best practices, and where you can just start within, let's say, an hour, instead of deploying all of those solutions by yourself and create some kind of GitOps approach to maintain all your code for your different clusters. And that is something we provide out of the box. So we're trying to deliver a turnkey solution that can be deployed on any Kubernetes cluster, be it on AWS or on Azure or on Google Cloud. And it's like an add-on for Kubernetes, but then you'll get everything up and running out of the box.
If you look at Kubernetes today, you come from a consultancy business, so you do know the pain points of the customers. What are some of the biggest challenges that you still see customers face? Because one thing what has happened is that all these cloud-native technologies, they have moved out of experimentation or evaluation phase to production, and production is when day two problems start. Day one is over, you got the product, you got it running now. So can you talk about what are some of the major problems that you see your customers still face when it comes to consuming technologies like Kubernetes, can you talk about that?
Well, a couple of years ago, of course, installing Kubernetes was really difficult. It's getting much easier with the platform services provided by the cloud vendors like AKS or EKS or GKE. But then you'll end up with a vanilla upstream Kubernetes. And what we see customers struggling with is, a vanilla upstream Kubernetes cluster is not production ready. Yeah? So there's not a lot of security enhancements. You need to do all the routing and ingress setup, and you would like to do integration or DNS integration, create certificates, configure monitoring, logging. So this is still really complicated, and the whole space on top of Kubernetes is like it's the Wild West. And so there are so many options you can choose, and it depends on the consultants that companies hire, which solutions they will choose and integrate. But as I tried to explain here before, is that then you'll be building some kind of platform on top of Kubernetes, and that takes time and requires a lot of knowledge and skills, and those people are still difficult to find. So you see a lot of consulting companies in the cloud native space popping up, trying to help customers on their cloud native Kubernetes journey and setting up environments for them. But that it's very expensive. And with our solution, we try to make Kubernetes more available for the masses, also for smaller companies that want to take advantage of cloud native containerization, but don't want to hire consultants to help them set it up. They just want to build software, containerize it, and deploy it, and don't want to be bothered with the whole space around Kubernetes.
As you said, a lot of companies in the consulting space are entering, and it's not just these companies. There are other big companies, very well-established companies. So this Kubernetes, platform space is a very crowded, very busy space. So let's say if you look at Rancher Labs, or if you look at Red Hat OpenShift, Rancher is now part of SUSE. So you're looking at these big heavyweights, and then they are Amazon. They have also open sourced their Kubernetes. How do you differentiate yourself, or what value do you bring to this crowded space so that customers, users should look at you?
Well, if you take, like, for instance, OpenShift, they offer a very they offer a lot of possibilities. So you'll still need to do a lot of engineering yourself, because they are not. They want to make everybody happy. Yeah, so they're not making choices. And that's what we did. So we're offering a curated solution. Of course, we're trying to make it more configurable so that you can also add other solutions to it. But in the core, we still use Prometheus, Istio, and Knative. But we deliver the solution all pre-configured. Yeah? So ready to use out of the box, instead of that you still need to do a lot of engineering, where you need engineers to set everything up and configure everything. So like Rancher has some really nice features, and Rancher is ideal for managing the Kubernetes infrastructure. But everything on top of Kubernetes that is offered through a default Helm charts, where you still need to do the configuration and move towards some kind of GitOps solution, and you'll still end up with all the technical depth.
Now let's talk about the tech piece or open source piece of it. Can you talk about when we look at that platform, how much of it is open source? By open source, you can have your code fully open source, but you may be charging for it. So can you talk about two sides of it, the project side of it and the product and service side of it?
Yeah, so the Otomi consists out of three parts. That is the core, that is that is completely open source. So that is the whole suite of open source solutions with all the wiring and automation. And on top of that, we build an API to control the configuration and a user interface that utilizes the API so that you can do very complex stuff with just a few clicks. And the interface also offers, well, we're trying to deliver some kind of OS X-like approach. Yeah? So a user interface with access to all your applications, be it Grafana or Harbor and Keycloak, that you can access directly, and it's completely role-based. So we have multiple roles, like a super admin or a team admin or a team user. And the interface provides self-service features where you can create a team, be it a development team or an external vendor, and the teams themselves can deploy containerized workloads. And the self-service features are behind the paid subscription. So we have an enterprise edition that contains the advanced user interface and the open source part, and that is the core. And the big difference is, of course, the self-service features. So in the open source solution, you can only run and configure it as an administrator. And in the enterprise edition, you can provide teams direct access to their environment.
You have also a successful seed funding round of 1.4 million. Where are you planning to invest that money? Are you planning to build sales teams, or you are going to invest further in engineering teams?
A lot of will go into the development of our product, because we have a roadmap and we have a lot of stories on our backlog. And on the other side, we're also investing in making our solution ready for marketplaces. So we're talking with AWS to add our solution into the AWS marketplace, where you can, hopefully with a few clicks, get our solution up and running on an EKS cluster. And yes, we're also investing in marketing and sales, of course.
Sandra, thanks for taking time out today and talk about not only the company, the project, the funding, the investment, and in general, how the whole Kubernetes and cloud native ecosystem is evolving and changing, and what role you are going to play in this space. And I would love to talk to you again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And let's talk again.